Final question. You gave a speech a few weeks ago which attracted a lot of attention, the University of Notre Dame Law School, in which you talked about the centrality of religious liberty in the United States, in its history, in the mind of the founding fathers, and those traditional religious values, and how important they are to a fully functioning, free democracy. You actually said that traditional religious values are under threat, under the target of organized destruction. You said people are attacking traditional religious values, whether it's over, requiring, Catholic institutions to provide contraception for their employees, or the LGBT rights for others, of people, organizations that maybe disagree with, don't accept those. Now, this attracted a lot of attention, as I say, particularly on the left. You got a lot of criticism from liberals. The New Yorker actually called it the worst speech by an attorney general in modern history, which you must have sort of badge of pride. It must be for you a bit there. But can you just give us just it's our final moments, a little bit more about what that why you think religious freedom is under threat, and why and what you particularly as the Attorney General of the United States perhaps can do to defend it and to restore it to its central role in the U.S. in the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. life.
Well, legally speaking, there used to be a consensus. There was, just 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that there should be an accommodation of religion. In fact, that passed overwhelmingly in Congress, and Chuck Schumer was the co-sponsor of it, and I think Teddy Kennedy and Hatch were involved. And which is, maximum accommodation to religion. Religion is a good thing, and we may have a general rule, but if it steps on somebody's toes, we try to accommodate it. That's gone by the boards, and now we almost, some people seem to take delight in forcing particular groups to accept, something that is anathema to them. I think humans have lived with religion for and evolved with religion for 50,000 years. I think regardless, and I'm not saying it's just a utilitarian thing, but it has been a very important part of our ability to live together in a community, and our founders believed that they could provide the kind of freedom they did in this system precisely because they felt that the moral values that people had primarily from religion, they'd be able to control themselves, so we can give them maximum freedom. And that if they don't have that, then society becomes more and more tyrannical and starts making all the rules. And I feel that there's been a breakdown of self-control, and that the government is performing the role of sort of alleviator of the consequences of that, essentially subsidizing irresponsibility and misconduct. So we're getting more and more of it, less and less self-control. And, government is, facilitating that. And I think we'd be better off to take a more neutral and a more accommodating position toward religion, not a position of hostility to religion, which I think, the Constitution has been misinterpreted to.
Some of these issues are big executives for chief executives. We had a session this morning. Chief executives are increasingly, demanded to take public stances on some of these issues in ways that a lot of religious people object to. Is that a threat to the religious freedom values that you're talking about?
What do you mean?
Well, they're under threat. For example, they're strongly under pressure on a lot of these issues of social concern, whether it be LGBT rights, for example. That some people may object to those. They may find it very difficult to have that, a religious view which is consistent with what you. But it does seem like the prevailing atmosphere these days requires chief executives to embrace rights that maybe, and we have seen some of these religious clashes, come along with, the stuff that sort of Chick-fil-A has been going through, or some of these other issues. We're seeing, more and more pressure on companies. Some people regard it as a good thing, but what's your view?
I guess my view is, I don't think it's a good development to have, all these social warriors, essentially pushing companies to take positions on these kinds of things. Those are companies that do, that's fine. I mean, that's the choice, and if the shareholders are happy, that's fine too. But what I was saying is, and I think I said this at my confirmation, you know, it's one I personally do not believe that gay people should be discriminated against in work. That's not currently in our law, but I have no problem with that. I think that's the right thing. But on the other hand, I think there has to be accommodation so that if a Catholic school system doesn't want to have, you know, a gay person who's living in a single-sex marriage as a teacher, they should be able to say that. So my attitude is live and let live, and there has to be space for different, you know, real diversity. When people talk about diversity, they're not really talking about diversity. I want real diversity in our society. I want people to, you know, to be able to form their own communities and live according to their values. And I think there is a group in our society that's, you know, views their mission as going around bludgeoning everyone into uniformity, and almost, you know, and I said in my Notre Dame speech, it's a little bit like the Roman Empire where, you know, the Christians were good citizens. I mean, they were the best fighters in the Roman army. And
no match for the lions, though, were they?
No, yeah. But that was later. You know, that was earlier. But I mean, you know, and yet they wouldn't let the Christians. Many of the emperors would not let the Christians live in peace. They weren't satisfied unless they actually got up and sacrificed to the emperor as a god. And you know, you sort of feel a little bit of the same spirit nowadays. Is that unless the Little Sisters of the Poor provide contraception, okay, there's something horrible and outrageous going on in society, and I don't like that.
And we'll have to leave it there.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Attorney General Barr.